Welcome. Thank you very much for coming along to our inaugural talk at CHF Gym. So really appreciate you giving up some time on your Friday evening to come and listen to me. So we're going to talk about menopause tonight. That's why you're here. Obviously, we were just saying that none of you are actually at that point yet. You're just, getting ready.
Yeah, we're just like
Yeah, exactly. It's good to be prepared. So my name's Sally, if you didn't know already, and I have a business called Highway to Well, and I'm a nutrition and health coach. So that basically means I help people with their nutrition and their lifestyle to live a better life. So just a little bit about me and why I do what I do. So it all started quite a few years ago when my mum got diagnosed with dementia. And I had a different life then, a different hat I was wearing. However, with my mum's illness, and unfortunately my dad had an illness as well, he was Parkinson's disease, this is meant to be fun. So neither of them had the retirement that I feel that they deserved. So I decided to learn more about nutrition and about my lifestyle and about how could I potentially put myself in the best place possible for a retirement that they didn't have. So that's ultimately why I do what I do. It's turned into helping women of our age through what I think is quite a pivotal time of life, because there's a lot of changes going on, and I think if you can conquer it in your 40s and 50s, personally, I hope there's a better chance of a better retirement at the end of it. So that's why I do what I do. So that's a bit about me. So the talk today is going to be about 34, probably more 40 minutes, because I tend to ad-lib quite a lot. It's about 40 minutes. Can you see the screen if I stand there? Yeah. So then there's going to be questions at the end. But, if there's something pressing that you don't want to wait till the end, just ask. It's just quite informal. So just ask. And what we're going to do today is very much the tip of the iceberg, okay? I spent a year studying nutrition. This is 30, 40 minutes of it, okay? So here we go. So I'm going to break it down today into 5 steps, okay? 5 steps that we can take to improve. We're going to look at understanding what's happening in your body, why we experience energy crashes. Anyone relate to that at all? Yeah. You asked if there's audience participation. That's as far as it goes, okay? A hand up. How to feed your hormones. They need feeding, they need looking after. Bones and muscles. Most of you are members of the gym here and into exercise. You know that needs looking after. And why your adrenal glands also need a bit of TLC. Okay, I call it a hormonal orchestra. So if you ever go and listen to an orchestra, if one instrument is out of tune, the whole lot is just rubbish, isn't it? So if one of our hormones is out of tune, or several hormones are out of tune, we feel it, okay? So you're not imagining it, it actually does feel like that. So this creates symptoms, particularly in menopause. It creates symptoms that we're feeling. And I would just love to use my whiteboard, because I brought it with me today. So I'd like to use it, and I'd like to ask you guys about symptoms, any symptoms that you're experiencing. Oh, aren't we? Yeah, hot. I call them the hots. Let's call it the hots. Irritability. Don't expect me to be able to read my writing afterwards. Anyone else?
Waking up at 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Oh, yes. Everyone agreed with that, didn't they? Excellent. Brain fog. Right, okay. The thing is, we laugh about these, don't we? We say hot flashes and everyone laughs about it, but it's just not funny, is it? No. Sorry, what did you just say? No, before that. Anxiety, thank you. So that's the brain fog kicking in. Right. Any more?
night sweats.
Yeah. Yeah. What about aching joints?
Yeah. Cramps.
Blimey, going to run out of whiteboard. Cramps, that's interesting.
It's like depression, but it's not depression, negative thoughts.
Okay, yeah. Low mood?
Yeah.
Very common.
But I think it's not just negative, like dark thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's more than like rational.
Well, I won't put that on there, but yeah, I get you, absolutely get you, I hear you. And some of these today, will come up in the talk and you might be able to find some solutions today, which would be amazing. But what we'll do is we'll come back to this later at the end of the talk and see if we've covered any or most, or if not all of these, okay? Oh gosh, how did I forget that?
It's the middle of the boob.
Let's put belly on there.
I never had before.
Yes, absolutely with you, completely with you. Yeah, know all about that. Right, fantastic. Thank you for the audience participation. It's much appreciated. So, So, as we know, estrogen, our friend estrogen and progesterone are in decline. From, usually often sort of early 40s it can start, and it can last for years. It can happen quickly. Some people go through it early. Everybody's different, and I'd like to just emphasise that. Every single body is so different and not one size fits all. As we know, as we've just discussed, this affects energy, mood, weight, sleep, bone density, muscles, blood sugar regulation, which you might not have thought as a symptom, but you will understand that in just a little bit if you hadn't heard of that, and muscle mass. Hormones are easily knocked out of balance, quite a sensitive time now. So we're going to first of all talk about nutrients, okay? So we're going to talk about what macros are. If you've not heard of macros, don't panic. If you have, great. We're going to talk about, has anyone heard of insulin resistance? No. Ooh, you'll know all about it by the end. How macros, which we'll talk about in a minute, affect your blood sugar, and how to balance your plate. How to balance your plate, your food. Okay, anyone know what I mean when I say macros? No, that's fine. There's no shame there. It's just, it helps me to know where you're at, okay? So I'm not just teaching you something you already know. The big three, macronutrients. We have macronutrients and micronutrients. Micronutrients are your things like your zinc, your magnesium, and all those extra bits, if you like. Macros or macronutrients are your main. They're carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Have you heard of those three? Yeah, they're your macros. It's just a fancy name for it. Okay. So carbohydrates, I'm just aware that I might be blocking the screen a little bit. Carbohydrates are our main source of energy. The body can use carbohydrates really easily and really quickly for energy, okay? Proteins, they help build our muscles, yeah? They support our muscles. And fats are also an energy source for us, okay? So, anyone tell me what they understand by the word carbohydrate?
Carbs,
Bread?
potatoes.
Potatoes, yeah. Anything from over here? Rice, pasta. Oh, you're all brilliant. Fruit, yeah. What did you say? Everything?
No, anything beige or yellow.
Anything beige or yellow? Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool, brilliant. Don't need to show you this then, because actually you'd be surprised how many people don't know what carbohydrates is. They think it's just sugar. But actually, it's a number of things. I think you've mentioned all of this: cereals, pasta, even a glass of orange juice, yeah, fruit. It's all carbohydrate. Below ground vegetables, yes, absolutely. If you notice, like parsnips and things are quite sweet, aren't they? Below ground vegetables are more of a starchy vegetable. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So yes, carrots, potatoes, all of those things. But they do form into different categories. It's not one size fits all with carbohydrates, okay? And we'll come on to that. So carbohydrates, they convert to glucose, go into our bloodstream to give us energy, okay? So yeah, what happens when we eat carbohydrates? Now, I'm not here to vilify carbohydrates. It gets vilified enough online, and there's no need to do that. It's just understanding how they work in our bodies, okay? At any one point in time, there's about 1 teaspoon of sugar in our bloodstream at any one time. So when we eat some carbohydrates, okay? Not all of them go straight into our bloodstream, but some of them do. And that gives us a bit of a sugar rush, okay? And now that's fine, you see, because at any one point, we have about 2,000 calories in our muscles ready to use as energy at any one point. And that's the only time I'm going to mention the word calorie, by the way. Okay, not into calories. So if you're about to come into a class at the gym, or you're going to go into the gym and you're not going to do anything excessive, then you've probably got enough in your system to keep you going. Maybe just have a little snack beforehand, but generally you've probably got enough in your muscles to be able to carry out that workout. If you're doing something intense like a spin-a-thon that they did here a few months ago, or if you're doing a marathon or a long cycle ride, you're probably going to run out after about an hour. Gives you about an hour's energy. After that, the body's going to want to use some more energy. And that's when you hear about marathon runners hitting the wall because they've just run out. And I'm not talking about professional marathon runners. I'm talking about people like you and I who try and do something that we wouldn't normally do. So the body can use fat as the energy, okay? So people who run marathons professionally, you don't see them stopping to eat a jelly baby or anything, do you? Because their bodies are fat adapted. They run on the fat in their bodies, not that they've got an awful lot. So it's more difficult for us to use fats because our bodies generally aren't fat adapted. Some are, as I say, everybody's different, okay? So like if I'm out on a bike ride and I'm out for more than an hour, about into an hour, I'll start eating a jelly baby or something sugary because that will give me the sugar rush and that will help me with my energy levels because it's the easiest source of energy to use. It's instant. The body is very, very clever. Have you ever thought about if you're really hungry, like really hangry, like really irritable, what do you reach for? What's the first type of food that you go for?
Me, I go for a piece of bread.
Piece of bread. Chocolate, comfort food, carbohydrate, because the body is really clever. The body's saying, I'm really hungry and I need food now. I need energy now. So your body's telling you to go to the cupboard and have that slice of bread or that piece of chocolate, that instant energy, because you're not going to think, oh, I really fancy a bit of chicken. It doesn't work like that, does it? The body says, I need sugar and I need it now because I know that's going to be an instant energy. It's really clever. So what happens when we eat sugar? So I'll demonstrate here on this blood sugar roller coaster. So imagine we're at the bottom of the roller coaster here, the start of the day, and we have, say, a bit of toast or a bowl of cereal for breakfast, yeah? Our blood sugar is going to spike. It's going to go up to here, okay? That's fine. That's great. But we have to deal with that sugar. It can't stay in our system like that. So in comes a hormone, which you've probably heard of, called Captain Insulin. Okay, he comes to the rescue because he is in charge of dealing with your sugars. So the sugar is going to be dealt with and it's going to go straight into your cells. He's going to put some into your muscles for energy, and any surplus, he's going to pop that into your fat stores for energy. Okay? I noticed the people going, right, okay. He can actually do too good a job, actually. He can actually take your blood sugar too low, a bit too good. And if he takes it too low, what happens? Craving, hangry, I need something to pick me up. And actually, if your blood sugar's too low, it can actually trigger a stress response in the body. It can actually make you feel stressed. And if the body doesn't feel safe, it can be stressed. And we'll come on to that a bit later, the effects of that. So we go back on the roller coaster because we grab something, don't we? It's that mid-morning snack. We've had a cereal, not quite kept us going because blood sugar's crashed again. So we reach for something, that chocolate biscuit. We'll have a biscuit. Lovely. Straight up to the top of the roller coaster, and so it continues. Okay. Now that's normal. That's normal. Insulin is meant to do the job of that. So you've crashed again, insulin comes in again, and the roller coaster continues. Now this line here, the green line, that's ideally where we would like our blood sugars levels to be, because we would like to try and avoid this spiking, okay? Because when we spike, it's that constant spike, crash. It's a constant eat, crash cycle. Is that familiar? Yeah. Anyone had that 3 p.m. slump? Yeah. Every day? Right, okay. Really interesting. So when we are in our menopause years, our estrogen is dropping and we become more sensitive to insulin and blood sugars. Okay? So you think, I was fine 10 years ago. It was fine, didn't bother me at all. Why is it making me really sleepy now? Why is this happening? It's because we don't have the estrogen. Insulin becomes more sensitive. And he has to start shouting louder because we become a bit more numb to it. So we keep on this roller coaster. We keep putting the sugar in the body like we've probably done for years, but now it's becoming more sensitive. And this is being insulin resistant. This is insulin sensitivity, okay? If he shouts louder and louder, eventually, not saying it's going to happen, but eventually he could give up. And anyone know what happens when insulin gives up completely? Type 2 diabetes, spot on. So it doesn't happen as quickly as that. Insulin sensitivity happens. Pre-diabetes happens. I remember Louise saying, this is going to be fun tonight. Really fun subject, isn't it? Knowing that they're potentially on the road to diabetes. But it's a pre-warning. Insulin resistance is a pre-warning for you because it could lead to that. And I do meet people who say they're pre-diabetic. It doesn't seem to worry them. However, if you do get diagnosed with pre-diabetes, it's generally a slippery slope to diabetes. So why would we not try and prevent that? So insulin resistance symptoms: frequent fatigue after meals, very, very tired after meals, energy crashes a few hours after eating, which we've talked about, brain fog. Who said brain fog? Brain fog and concentration. Weight gain, we've already talked about that in this bit. And increased waist to height ratio. The way to do this is get yourself a piece of string, measure yourself from the floor to the top of your head, cut that piece of string in half and see if it'll go around your waist. Okay? Ideally, but it also doesn't mean even if you're super slim. I have a friend who is super, super slim and she's been diagnosed with pre-diabetes. Well, actually should be coming out of it now because I've been helping her. But she was really shocked. She's like, well, look at me. I said, it doesn't necessarily mean, but it is one of the symptoms. And skin tags, usually around the neck, is another symptom. If you're not sure and you're worried, and you can go and get a blood test, it's called an HB1AC, and that does measure 3 months' worth of blood glucose in your blood, and it's a good way to know whether you're, within the range. So yeah, I discovered at the beginning of my course that I was probably insulin resistant, and I now know that I'm really sensitive to insulin. I don't even have a piece of fruit now on its own because it will send me into a crash. So yeah, it's being very much aware. Earlier about carbohydrates, and I was saying that there are different types of carbohydrate, okay? So you've got your simple carbs, which are your sweets, your sugary things, the instant hit, okay? Your sweets. And it's an easy way to remember it is a simple carbohydrate. It simply goes straight into your blood sugar. Straight in there, spike, crash, okay? So that is, all breakfast cereals are pretty horrendous. Yeah, they are. Yeah. I think people are becoming more aware of that now, but, it used to be the thing. Complex carbohydrates are, as the name suggests, or starchy carbs, as they're sometimes called, are things like your potatoes, your carrots, your pasta and your rice, and your bread. Now, bread, brown bread, dark bread, whole grain. You're always looking for whole grain. If you go and buy a loaf of bread at the supermarket, just as an aside, you won't ever probably get a completely whole grain. There will be white flour in it, but it's better than the white bread. White bread isn't a simple carbohydrate, but actually acts like a simple carbohydrate. So yeah. Well, the reason it's better is because the fibre in it will slow down the digestion. It won't go straight to your bloodstream. So things like potatoes, carrots, I keep the skin on. That all helps. It's all fibre, which we'll come on to. So fibre is classed as a carbohydrate, but we actually don't get energy from it. So above ground vegetables particularly, so like your broccoli, peppers, things like that, your greens, we don't actually get energy from those things because we don't have the enzyme to convert that to energy. We're not like a horse or a cow or a sheep can eat grass and get energy from it. We can't. We don't have the enzyme. So it goes straight down into our microbiome. Heard of microbiome? No? Okay. Microbiome is like a hot topic at the moment. Microbiome is basically lots of microbes, lots of gut bacteria.
Yeah.
Heard of probiotics? Yeah. Gut bacteria in your gut, basically, in your lower gut. I like to think of them as little people, trillions of them in your gut who all need feeding, and they love fibre. They feed on fibre. They don't feed on chicken or anything, meats or anything like that. They feed on fibre. So it goes straight in there, makes you feel fuller. Your gut, we're not going to go too much into gut microbiome, but your microbiome is responsible for your immune system. So if you keep all of those microbiome happy, your immune system will be a lot stronger. It's also 90% of your serotonin, your happy hormone, is 90% of it's produced in the gut. Look after your microbiome, they'll look after you, absolutely. There's also things like beans, lentils, all legumes, brilliant for fibre, excellent. Nuts and seeds are on there. They do actually provide us with energy, but they also provide us with fibre. Not one food doesn't just have one type of macro in it. It has multiple things in there. So nuts and seeds are fantastic for us, but they're also a really good fat, a healthy fat, okay, which we'll come on to in a bit because we're all a bit scared of fat, aren't we? Yeah, we're all scared of fat. Right, okay, fantastic. So there's a little hack here. We like a hack. So if you were to, for example, cook some rice tonight, put it in your fridge overnight and have it tomorrow, heat it up really, really well, by the way, because rice, you can increase the amount of resistant starch that's in the rice or any of these products because they all have a certain amount of resistant starch, which means it goes and feeds your microbiome. So it doesn't go into your blood sugar as much, okay? So if you can pre-cook these things and then heat them up, you are increasing the resistant starch and therefore not spiking your blood sugar so much. Quite a nice little hack. So it also makes you organised, doesn't it? Because you've got your dinner ready. Excellent. So freezing bread actually is another one. You have, I only found that out recently. So if you have your bread in the freezer and you just take a slice out to cook it, that's also higher in resistant starch. So your microbiome, your little people will be fed as well, and they'll be happy too. See, it's win-win. So do we have to eat? Do we have to give up carbs? No.
Just a balance.
It's about the balance, absolutely. So rather than cutting it out, we want to slow down the release of it going into our blood sugar. So we've already talked about the fibre can slow that down. It does help to cut back on the starchy carbs like white rice, white pasta, that kind of thing, okay? There are alternatives out there. For a client, I looked for alternatives because she loved her rice. But we found things like, I don't know if anyone's tried things like bulgur wheat, pearl barley,
Yes.
lower in carbohydrate, and actually really nice. Another little hack actually for cauliflower rice, because I'm not a big fan myself, actually do half cauliflower rice and mix it in with your rice. So then you're diluting the carbs and getting extra fibre. Thought that was quite a nice hack. Thank you for raising that because I'd forgotten about that one. Good, excellent. See, that's what women together, you see, come up with all these ideas, brilliant. So we say wrap up your carbs. Have you heard that expression before? So peanut butter is one good thing. We eat a lot of it, and just look at the labels for peanut butter because some of them have sugar added. We don't need that, do we? 100% peanuts, and they're a healthy fat. They're good for you. So you can mix things up. So like sometimes on your porridge, you can have a bit of peanut butter or Greek yogurt, plain Greek yogurt that's not got sugar added. Just beware. Start looking at labels because sugar gets added an awful lot. Nuts and seeds are brilliant. I put blueberries there because it makes a great breakfast when you've got berries are fantastic for you. Obviously, they've got an element of sugar in, but if you're combining them with some nuts and seeds and Greek yogurt, it's a fantastic because they're an antioxidant as well. Really, really good for you. So yeah, just think about, that's the next slide actually, just stop and think, how can I add some protein to that? Because that's ultimately what it is. Proteins and fats will slow down the release of your blood sugars. So always just think, what can I add? Okay, just a little thought. Are we, I'm guessing, pretty much similar ages? Are we all brought up in the low-fat era? Yeah, everything was low-fat. Me too. My mum was low-fat, 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 everything. You know, my journey has brought me to the fact that we actually do need fats in our diet. And the word fat isn't the same as, the fat under our skin isn't the same as the fat that we eat. It's two different things. It's just, unfortunately, it's the name. So when they take the fat out of these products, what do you reckon they put in to make it tasty? Yeah. So it's about starting to look at labels. And I'm not just talking about that. There's things like some of these protein bars are dreadful. They've got seed oils in, which is another subject. But when they're heated, they're not great for you. And they're heated in the process of making them. So fats are not the enemy. Even oat milk's got sugar in it often. So yeah, have a look. Start noticing what's in there. Because sugar comes in many guises. It's not just saying sugar. In fact, it never says sugar on the label, rarely. It'll have one of these. And as we know, fruit juice isn't great either. So don't be fooled. And sometimes it will have 2 or 3 of these names because it's disguised. Now, your plate is one of your most powerful hormone tools, okay? What you put on your plate. We're aiming for a whole food diet. Now, when I said about feeding your hormones, there are plant foods like broccoli, cauliflower in particular. They can actually mimic estrogen in your body in a very mild way. So get plenty of broccoli and cauliflower inside you. Ground flax seeds is another brilliant one. It's called a phytoestrogen. It, again, is going to support that. If you have yogurt or porridge, sprinkle it on. Again, it will slow down the release as well. We've talked about fats. Not going to go into fats massively today, but healthy fats are really, really important. There are some essential fats that we have to have, and most of them are in oily fish. Not everyone's a fish fan, I know. Salmon, mackerel, all those sorts of things. But you'll also find them in your nuts and seeds as well. But you can get your omega-3 fats, which is what they're called, or omega-3 fats from other sources like nuts and seeds. There are other sources as well. Avocado is a really good one. Yeah. So there's not masses. Walnuts. Walnuts are brilliant. Keep them in the fridge because light and heat will damage the omega-3s. It's very sensitive. So walnuts in the fridge, flax seeds in the fridge, and eggs. My friends' eggs, not so much for the fats, but just their nutrient bombs. Brilliant bit of protein, and their nutrient bombs. Did you know they actually contain every vitamin apart from vitamin C, an egg? Brilliant. What's not to love, unless you're vegan? Fats are not bad. Fats have been very much vilified. Fats are satiating. They help us to feel fuller for longer. Fats carry more calories than protein and carbohydrate. Okay, so that's why the diet industry jumped on the fats, because they're too high in calories. It's all been calorie counting. However, if you're eating a balanced diet with plenty of fibre, and I'll come to the food plate in a minute, if you're eating a balanced diet with plenty of fibre and the fats, you're going to naturally feel fuller and you're not going to want more. So it's really important that we have fats in our bodies. And I've only learnt that in the last couple of years. So yeah, I'm enjoying my full fat everything. And it doesn't make you put on weight. Fat doesn't make you fat. It's just when you eat lots of sugar as well, that's the problem. So yeah, fantastic. And tinned fish is good, as I mentioned. Tinned mackerel is cheap and it's good. Brilliant. Your plate. So ideally, half your plate should be vegetables above ground and below ground. Real mix. Eat the rainbow. Lots and lots of colour. Starchy carbs. So just a quarter of the plate, absolutely maximum. And then your protein. So there is a rule of thumb for protein in the day. And it's actually a calculation that you can make. It's 1.2 grams of protein per every kilogram of body weight. Everyone's different. So you can work out how much protein you need in a day and divide it into your 3 meals. So that's kind of the nutrition bit. And just to wrap up a bit, we need to stay strong so you can keep doing the things that you love to do. And I always say, like, you know, when you get older and you may already have grandchildren, so you can play with your grandchildren. Well, it's important to keep moving. That's why you're here, isn't it? That's why you're at the gym. So our bones and muscles, as we know, are in decline. Doing weights in the gym is exactly what you need to be doing. So preaching to the converted here. Protein at every meal. bit more difficult at lunchtime, so just watch out for that. And resistance and strength training, but you already know that. Stress. Stress puts an awful lot of strain on our adrenal glands, okay? This is just the last point that we'll make here. If we are, okay, so when in the old days, if you like, old days, if we were stressed, it's because we needed to run from something, okay? So our body would release adrenaline, it would release cortisol. Cortisol would pump some sugar into our bloodstream so that we had the energy to run. Now our brains don't understand whether we're about to be chased or whether that to-do list is just overwhelming, okay? So we get the same, so we're in a state of chronic stress probably more than we realise. So we have two parts of our nervous system, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The sympathetic isn't very sympathetic at all. The sympathetic is when we're in a high stressed state, okay? Parasympathetic is when it's our rest and digest state, and that's where we want to be. So it's about taking some breaths before we eat, okay? Allowing our digestive system sitting still and concentrating on our food. We're always eating on the go. Being outdoors is brilliant for calming the nervous system. If you're stressed, just go out for a walk, 10 minutes. It'll make such a difference. Breath work, yoga, Tai Chi, all of those sorts of things. Caffeine can have the same effect. I've had to cut mine down right down. Very edgy, that edgy feeling, caffeine. Again, that's probably releasing cortisol if you're not careful. Now, we have another hormone called DHEA. Don't ask me what it stands for, it's really long. DHEA, and that's produced in our adrenal glands. See, that's where our adrenaline's produced. In our adrenal glands, we also produce something called DHEA. And it's a kind of a hormone it's very clever. The body knows that you're dropping estrogen and hormones. So it's brought in this DHEA, which kind of backs up the estrogen. It's going to really help us. But the trouble is it gets overshadowed by cortisol and the stress. So it doesn't really get to do its job if we're constantly stressed. So if we can get calmer, if we can do those things, if we can make time in our day to do some breath work, go for a walk, do all those things, DHEA is going to do its job and help compensate for that loss of hormone. It's a bit of like a backup. Body is really clever. It's not here. The body's not here to make us miserable. The body just needs what it needs to then perform and make you feel tip-top. Okay. Let's just go back to this list then, just briefly. We talked about the 3 a.m. wake up. That can be to do with blood sugar crashing. If you're on that roller coaster and you crash, your body will wake you up. I need food. Okay, so that could be to do with that. Brain fog we've mentioned. Anxiety, I would put that down to the nervous system, and things like caffeine made a big difference for that for me. And the hot flashes as well, that's actually part of our nervous system as well. Could be connected. If you drink, do people drink a lot of caffeine here?
No, I don't.
Not anymore?
No.
No big caffeine drinkers here?
No.
It was just me then. And yeah, night sweats as well. I agree, they're horrible. Again, it can, if you get your diet right, if you start eating whole foods, eating the things that we've said, you probably will notice a difference of these things changing. It's a case of looking at labels and trying to cut out some of these things that we don't need. Cramps, magnesium, dark leafy green vegetables, spinach, kale, all those things, magnesium, and the mood. Look after your microbiome. That's all I can say. Feed it, because it will look after you. It will grow. It will produce more microbes, and they're all there to look after you. So yeah, the mood definitely that will help. And the belly fat, yeah, that comes from nowhere. That's about here, isn't it? And that is to do with that blood sugar roller coaster, whereas the insulin's coming in, pumping it into your, sorting it out, putting it into the cells and everything else, and then putting the rest into your fat stores. And it is what you do regularly that counts, guys. So I'm not saying don't have that biscuit or don't have the piece of cake. For goodness sake, live. It's not about that at all. It's about what you're doing regularly that counts. That's the main thing. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, I hope you enjoyed that.